Good morning, Chattanooga. An Orange Grove employee is found dead. How long he was missing before someone discovered the body.
Plus, moving forward, who votes on the seatbelts on school buses bill next, and what challenges this next leg of the race will bring.
Thank you so much for joining us on Good Morning Chattanooga. I'm Jessica Harthorn.
And I'm Greg Funderburg. Today is Hump Day. It's Wednesday, folks, April 19, 2017. And the weather, if you step outside this morning, very humid.
That is very humid. We made it halfway through the week, and the rain, it looks like, may continue as well. Here's a look now at your forecast with meteorologist Brian Smith.
Hey, good morning to you, Jessica. Yeah, and after a very dry week last week, boy, have we seen the rain so far the last couple of days. Some locations, including here in Chattanooga, some 2.5 inches of rain. Spring City up towards Pikeville, over 4 to 4.5 inches of rain. Not quite as much in North Georgia, but this morning we're left with wet roadways and some patchy fog, but nothing falling from the sky. Doesn't mean we won't see an isolated shower or two. I just don't see anything as widespread as it was yesterday morning. Boy, was that a headache. We're in the upper 50s and the low 60s. It's warm, it's humid. We have some patchy fog to deal with as well. So a lot of clouds around, a few breaks in those clouds at times. We will see a little more sunshine today, and that's why highs will be in the low 80s by 2 o'clock this afternoon. However, a few isolated showers and storms are still possible, just not as many. That's what leads our headlines. We're also keeping an eye on some showers and storms Friday, but especially Saturday night, early Sunday. Those might be strong. We'll discuss that and a brief cool down in your full forecast in just a few minutes, guys.
Brian, thank you. New this morning, 2 candidates in a special election will head to a runoff in June. The District 6 seat was up for grabs after Tom Price was named the president's new Secretary of Health. Democratic candidate Jon Ossoff was leading the way for most of the night, but then failed to get above 50% of the vote to win. He will now race against the Republican candidate, Karen Handel, on June 20th. By 11 o'clock last night, all of the votes were in except for one county, Fulton. Fulton County officials said that due to a data error from one of the cards, they had to manually go through hundreds of cards to find the culprit. Once that bad card was found, they were able to resume counting the votes.
A man with intellectual disabilities is found dead in a van. Brandon
Evans is now live at Orange Grove Center. Brandon, what do you know so far this morning?
Well, Greg and Jessica, Orange Grove Center officials say a staff member picked up 60-year-old Carrie Lee Parkey around 8 a.m. yesterday. 7 hours later, a staff member found his body inside one of those vans. Now, Orange Grove Center, they take care of people with mental disabilities, provide them transportation and housing. Now, as far as the Chattanooga police, where they were called in after a staff member called 911, they say they did not see any major injuries, but because the suspicious way that Parkey's body was found, they are going to have the Hamilton County Medical Examiner's Office conduct an autopsy. Now, here's more from the Orange Grove officials.
Obviously, when something like this happens, lots of questions abound, and so we are answering all those questions. We have provided all the names of the individuals, our staff, and all of the individuals who might have relevant knowledge to the Chattanooga Police Department.
So staff members shocked, distraught by the death of 60-year-old Carrie Lee Parkey, who we now know had been here at Orange Grove for quite some time, since the 70s. And we'll know more after this autopsy is complete from the Hamilton County Medical Examiner. But for now, reporting at Orange Grove Center, I'm Brandon Evans for Good Morning Chattanooga.
Brandon, thank you. Chattanooga police are investigating a shooting this morning. Investigators say a man was shot several times on East 23rd Street last night. They say he was taken to the hospital and his injuries do not appear to be life-threatening. The man told investigators he was shot while sitting in a car. His name has not been released.
And National Park Rangers are still looking for a missing Macaulay student and his step-grandmother this morning. Search teams found some personal belongings from Jackson Standifer and Luann Merrill. The two were crossing a creek in the Grand Canyon when they slipped and fell and were swept away.
That 2 people would be washed away in a creek crossing is something that is almost unheard of in our local memory.
And people with them say they were well equipped, but most of their supplies were swept away with them. We're also told 3 search teams are looking for them at this hour. The teams are using a drone and a helicopter during the day, while at night, a team of people are searching the ground.
Happening today, Jonathan Walker is expected in a Hamilton County courtroom. The judge is expected to rule on motions and possibly set a trial date. Last month, Walker pled not guilty to charges, including 6 counts of vehicular homicide after the Woodmore school bus crash. Walker's attorney has filed a motion to have the jury brought in from out of town. In the meantime, a bill to put seat belts on school buses moves forward in the Tennessee state capitol. That bill would put seat belts on new buses across the state. It now goes before the Government Operations Committee. We talked to the bill's sponsor, Joanne Favors, about the chances of this bill becoming law. She says concerns over what it could cost is not really a problem anymore.
We were told initially that in order to have school buses with seat belts, that you would lose about 12 seats. And so that was calculated in the cost of additional buses. And what I have found some evidence to suggest that only 2 seats would be lost.
Meanwhile, there is no set date for the end of the Tennessee legislative session. State Senator Todd Gardenhire says that should happen around May 9th. Well, students in Tennessee are now in the middle of standardized testing after last year's disastrous rollout. Hamilton County students will have 12 days of testing on subjects such as English, U.S. history, math, and science. In Hamilton County, the next test date is tomorrow. Then it'll be April 24th through May 5th. The last day of school is May 26th. The State Education Department changed testing vendors after last year's testing material delays. Education Commissioner Candace McQueen says she has confidence in this new supplier.
A National Transportation Research Group says traffic congestion in Chattanooga is getting worse. According to TRIP, this costs drivers time and wastes gas. The average driver in the Chattanooga area loses nearly, get this folks, $1,500 a year driving on roads that are deteriorated, congested, and lack some desirable safety features. Now, those types of roads are some many people tell us that they're dealing with on a daily basis.
I've had probably at least one blowout in my lifetime, hitting a pothole, and that doesn't sit well with you to just be behaving yourself and get your tires cut out from under you. And it's a personal expense. You don't get any reimbursement. I mean, it's your fault, your problem, and since I didn't fix it.
TRIP also says it costs $619 billion a year for trucks to ship goods to and from sites throughout Tennessee. And happening today, Tennessee lawmakers will vote on Governor Bill Haslam's gas tax. The governor's plan calls for raising the tax on regular gas by 6 cents. Diesel would go up 10 cents. The legislation would also cut sales tax on groceries and the tax on income from stocks and bonds and corporate taxes paid by manufacturers. The governor also says the money would help fund a $10 billion backlog in road and bridge projects. The bill will go before the House this afternoon.
A bill seeking to reduce penalties for carrying a handgun in public without a permit has failed for the year. The bill did not receive a second motion to be heard yesterday afternoon. Under the current law, people caught carrying a handgun without a permit will face a fine of up to $500 and possible jail time. This bill would have dropped that fine punishment drastically. The bill's sponsor wants to bring it back next year.
And taking a live look at your exclusive traffic tracker. Things are looking really good out there. I-75, 24, green light conditions, same situation, Highway 27 and Amnicola Highway.
Let's take a live look outside, showing you the morning commute at 24 at Old Ringgold Road. Looks wonderful. Well, this morning there are reports that Bill O'Reilly and Fox News are now working on an exit strategy for the host as protests grow louder amid harassment claims.
ABC's Morris Kifacampo has the latest information in today's GMA First Look.